Hello. Do you often think that snakes are cold-blooded killers with venom capable of taking down fierce beasts like lions or elephants? However, in the natural world full of mutual counters, there still exist creatures that have absolutely no fear of venom. To them, snakes are not a threat but merely a delicious meal. Today, we will go over the top 10 animals that venomous snakes fear the most. Let's get started right away. If you think the venomous snake is the pinnacle of the terrestrial food chain, then the first creature will make that thought crumble almost instantly. The Komodo dragon. As the world's largest lizard, up to 3 meters long and weighing over 70 kilograms, the Komodo dragon doesn't need lightning speed or flashy pounces. It just needs to approach slowly, patiently, and precisely. To the Komodo dragon, a venomous snake is not an enemy but just an appetizer. Their bodies are almost immune to snake venom, allowing the Komodo to attack species that other predators must avoid. But the reverse is the terrifying part. A Komodo's bite rarely kills on the spot because it doesn't need to. In the Komodo dragon's mouth exists a deadly cocktail. Previously, it was believed that over 50 types of bacteria in its saliva were the main cause. Today, science has also discovered venom glands secreting toxins that cause a blood pressure drop, anticoagulation, and shock. The result? A seemingly light bite becomes a suspended sentence. The prey might escape, but only to die a slow death. Blood doesn't clot, infection spreads, organs fail, and the Komodo dragon just has to follow the scent of blood. It isn't in a hurry. It knows the outcome is predetermined from the moment those backward curved teeth close. A few hours or days later, when the prey collapses from shock and blood loss, the Komodo returns to finish the pending job. In the natural world, some predators win by speed, some win by strength, but the Komodo dragon wins with cold certainty. No need for an instant kill. Just one bite is enough. If the Komodo dragon counters venomous snakes with bacteria and primal strength, then the wild boar chooses a different path. The wild boar. It is a more silent, more pragmatic path, and so effective that the ancients summarized it in a saying. When a snake meets a boar, it can only cry. The wild boar is an omnivore with nearly perfect adaptability. Their skin is up to 2 centimeters thick, covered outside with bristles as stiff as steel thorns. But the thing that truly makes the wild boar the snake's nemesis lies underneath. A thick layer of fat acting as a biological shield. When a snake bites, it is very difficult for the venom to penetrate deep into the bloodstream, significantly reducing its lethal effectiveness. In many cases, the wild boar takes the hit and continues fighting, while the snake gradually runs out of chances to survive. It doesn't stop there. The wild boar possesses an extremely keen sense of smell, enough to detect snakes even when they are hiding deep under the dirt, in thickets or rock crevices. And when winter comes, the time when snakes enter hibernation and are almost motionless, the wild boar will use its tusks to dig through the cold dirt, dragging the prey out in a state incapable of resisting. No need for dodging or speed. For the wild boar, this confrontation has never been a tense hunt. It is just another meal in nature's harsh cycle of survival. And in that relationship, the venomous snake, the one who once sowed fear in countless creatures, becomes the weakest party. If the wild boar defeats the snake with its thick skin and tenacity, the next species chooses a completely different path, attacking from above. The brown snake eagle. This is a bird of prey specializing in eating snakes in Africa. Its entire body is a deep brown, and its wingspan can reach 1.85 meters, allowing it to soar for hours in the sky almost without flapping its wings. From that altitude, every slightest movement on the ground, like a gentle slither in the grass or a snake sunbathing, cannot escape its sight. The most terrifying feature of the brown snake eagle does not lie in its beak or talons, but in its legs. The lower legs are covered by a thick and hard layer of scales, acting as a natural armor, minimizing the impact of the desperate defensive bites of venomous snakes. Even highly venomous snakes find it very difficult to cause serious damage to this part. When spotting prey, it does not swoop down hastily. The brown snake eagle calculates for a long time, maintaining a safe distance, waiting for the exact moment the snake drops its guard. Then, in a split second, it dives at high speed, tightly grabbing the head, the most dangerous point, before the prey can twist its body to counterattack. After that, it either carries the snake into the air to kill it slowly or pecks it to death right on the spot. With this bird, the snake is no longer a terrifying ambusher on the ground. They become completely exposed targets from the sky. A quick, precise hunt that leaves almost no chance for resistance. If the brown snake eagle shows it can control snakes from the air, the next is the ruler of the ground within its territory. The bobcat. This is a North American lynx with an extremely high sense of territorial defense. To a bobcat, any strange invading creature, especially a rattlesnake, is considered a threat to be eliminated immediately. Remarkably, the bobcat is not immune to venom, nor does it possess thick skin or biological armor like the wild boar. But the bobcat has something much more dangerous: speed and reflexes. This is one of the fastest reacting felines in North America, capable of striking and retracting its paw in a time measured only in milliseconds. When confronting a snake, the bobcat doesn't rush in to bite right away. It keeps its distance, constantly moving in and out, observing every small movement. Then, in the moment the snake raises its head, preparing to attack, the bobcat unleashes lightning-fast slaps with its claws aimed straight at the head. These strikes are not meant to kill instantly, but to completely disrupt the snake's nervous system, making the prey disoriented and unable to accurately pinpoint the target. Only when the snake has slowed down and its reflexes are impaired does the bobcat close in. A decisive bite to the skull or neck, and everything ends almost immediately. In this confrontation, the snake doesn't lose because it's weaker. It loses because it's a beat slower. And in the predatory world, being just a moment slower renders venom useless. If the bobcat defeats the snake with reflexes and lightning-fast strikes, the next bird chooses an even more direct approach. The greater roadrunner. This is a bird endemic to the North American deserts. On the outside, the roadrunner looks small, slender, and somewhat harmless. But don't let that appearance deceive you. With a running speed of up to 30 kilometers per hour, it is fast enough to dodge almost every lightning strike of a rattlesnake. In this confrontation, the snake rarely has time to launch an attack because the target is always out of reach. The roadrunner's true weapon does not lie in its size, but in its relentless and precise attacking style. When it spots a snake, it doesn't charge recklessly. Instead, the roadrunner constantly moves, maintaining a safe distance, then suddenly lunges forward to peck repeatedly at the snake's head, leaving the prey dazed and disoriented. Once the snake slows down, the roadrunner instantly grabs the opponent's body and violently slams it against rocks or hard ground. This slamming doesn't happen just once. It is repeated until the bones are shattered and all resistance completely ceases. To the roadrunner, the snake is not a threat. The snake is just a speed test. And in that test, the slower one is always the loser. If the roadrunner defeats the snake with speed, the next species chooses a completely opposite path. The porcupine. It does not run or dodge and almost never needs to strike first. Few would expect that a small, slow animal like the porcupine is the natural nemesis of snakes. When facing off, the porcupine doesn't charge forward to attack, nor does it try to run away. It stands still, flaring its sharp quills like erecting a living wall, forcing the snake to make a decision, attack or give up. And if the snake chooses to attack, the price to pay is immediate. Every bite causes the snake's mouth and head to plunge straight into a forest of stiff quills, causing agonizing pain and soft tissue damage. The more aggressive the snake gets, the more it attacks, the more energy it loses, and the more its advantage fades. Meanwhile, the porcupine almost needs to do nothing but wait. When the snake is exhausted, its reflexes slowed, and its strikes no longer precise, the porcupine finally begins to move. It approaches unhurriedly, bites straight into the spine or head, and cleanly ends the match in silence. In addition, the porcupine's body has a relatively high level of natural venom resistance, rendering the snake's most dangerous weapon nearly neutralized. In this confrontation, the porcupine doesn't win by strength nor by speed. The porcupine wins with patience and through the opponent's own mistakes. If the porcupine wins with patience and defense, the next species represents a completely different extreme. The honey badger. They do not dodge or wait, and they don't need to calculate too much either. The honey badger, also known by the haunting moniker the Fearless One, is one of the most reckless creatures ever to exist in the natural world. To it, the concept of fear has almost no place. Venomous snakes, large predators, or even humans, all are grouped into one category: things that can be attacked. Physically, the honey badger was born to take a beating. Its skin is thick, loose, and so highly elastic that snake fangs find it very difficult to penetrate deeply enough to inject venom effectively. Even when bitten, the honey badger skin can slide, twist, or stretch, significantly reducing the level of damage. But that's still not what makes snakes truly helpless. The most terrifying thing lies in this species' almost illogical venom resistance. Even the black mamba, one of Africa's fastest and deadliest venomous snakes, is no exception. When bitten, the honey badger may convulse violently, lose bodily control, and collapse to the ground as if dead. To most other creatures, that is the end. But to the honey badger, it's just a short break. After a few dozen minutes or a few hours, its body begins to recover. The honey badger wakes up, shakes its head, stands up, and the first thing it does is not run away, but go back to find the snake. And if the snake is still there, the outcome almost never changes. Head crushed, torn apart, and eaten completely. In the natural world, most creatures learn to avoid venomous snakes. Some learn to defend themselves, and others rely on speed to survive. The honey badger alone is different. To it, venom is not a weapon, just a temporary annoyance. And a venomous snake is just a meal with a little extra spice. After the honey badger, let's move on to a bird that doesn't give the snake a chance to use its weapon from the very beginning. The secretary bird. The secretary bird is one of the strangest birds of prey in Africa. It doesn't hunt from the air like an eagle, nor does it swoop down in a flash. Instead, it walks slowly, as calm as a boxer stepping into a familiar ring. With a height that can reach 1.3 meters and legs as long and straight as stilts, the secretary bird almost always stands out of the snake's effective striking range. The lower legs are covered by a thick and hard layer of scales, acting as a natural armor, significantly reducing the impact of the desperate, hasty bites of the prey. But that armor is only a prerequisite. What makes the snake truly helpless lies in the technique. The secretary bird doesn't peck, doesn't grab. It kicks. Its long legs act like living hammers. When spotting a snake, the secretary bird will pivot, maintain the perfect distance, and unleash vertical stomps with near absolute precision. Each downward strike is aimed directly at the snake's head, the only place that can completely neutralize its counterattack capability. These stomps are not only fast but extremely powerful. The force is enough to daze the snake, break its skull, or make it lose bodily control after just a few beats. And before the snake can recover its senses, the next stomp is already delivered. More importantly, thanks to its superior height, the secretary bird almost never lets the snake get close enough to coil around its body or bite a vulnerable part. All of the snake's counterattack efforts occur in vain, reaching up but falling short, lunging but always missing the target. In this confrontation, the snake doesn't lose because it's weaker, nor because it's slower. The snake loses because it's never within reach. When distance is absolutely controlled, venom, the thing that once made the whole savanna wary, suddenly becomes a weapon with no chance to be used. While the secretary bird controls the snake with distance on the ground, the next species takes the hunt to a completely different level. The crested serpent eagle. True to its name, the crested serpent eagle is one of the very few birds of prey designed almost exclusively to hunt snakes. This isn't a type of hunting based on recklessness or spontaneous reflexes. With this eagle, everything revolves around observation, timing, and executing with an absolute advantage. From high above, the eagle can soar for tens of minutes on end, its sharp eyes scanning every patch of grass and rock crevice. A tiny movement, an unusual slithering trail on the ground, is enough for it to lock onto the target. But instead of swooping down immediately, the eagle usually observes further. It needs to determine the size, the level of danger, and the risk. With small or mildly venomous snakes, the hunt happens very fast. The eagle dives almost vertically, its strong talons tightly gripping the snake's head and body, then uses crushing force to kill it in seconds. No dragging it out, no giving the prey time to twist and fight back. A clean, precise attack that ends right on the spot. But when facing larger, stronger, and dangerously venomous snakes, the tactic changes completely. The eagle doesn't try to kill it immediately. It separates the snake from the ground, using its extremely powerful talons. It tightly grips the snake, usually at the rear body or near the head, then uses all its lifting power to fly high. The snake is still alive at this point, still thrashing wildly, but all familiar reflexes become useless. No grass to hide in, no ground to anchor to, and no space to coil up for an attack. Once it reaches sufficient altitude, the eagle simply releases its grip. The snake falls freely to the hard ground below. The impact doesn't require venom or tearing. The force of the fall is enough to shatter bones, damage internal organs, or render the prey completely incapable of resisting. And if necessary, the eagle can repeat that maneuver once more. In this confrontation, the snake doesn't lose because it's overwhelmed head-on. The snake loses because it's pulled out of the world it rules. On the ground, the snake is an ambusher. In the air, the snake is just a falling object. When the environment is altered, all the advantages accumulated over millions of years of snake evolution are left behind below. If the snake loses in the air because it's pulled off the ground, then right on the ground, the snake faces an opponent that it has almost no way of defeating. The mongoose. The mongoose takes the final spot, but it is also the most dominant position. The mongoose has long been dubbed the king of snake killers. Its size is not impressive at all, about 40 centimeters long and weighing less than 4 kilograms, with no large claws or giant teeth. But what makes every venomous snake wary lies deep inside that small body. The mongoose possesses special acetylcholine receptors in its nervous system, allowing it to be almost completely immune to cobra venom. When bitten, the toxin cannot block the nerve signals as usual. In other words, the moment the snake expects its opponent to collapse, the mongoose remains standing there, calm, alert, and ready to counterattack. But venom immunity is only half the story. The other half lies in speed. The mongoose has extremely fast reflexes, constantly moving, changing directions, advancing, retreating, and closing in on short trajectories, making it impossible for the snake to lock onto the target. Every strike from the snake misses. Every miss is a time the snake expends energy and gradually loses its advantage. The mongoose isn't in a hurry to kill it. It forces it to try. It waits for the exact, tiny moment of vulnerability. When the snake's head is offbeat, when the snake's body hasn't coiled back up yet, and immediately lunges in to bite straight into the nape or the back of the head. One decisive bite. The match ends right there. In nature, confrontations where the outcome is almost pre-written are very rare. But between a venomous snake and a mongoose, that is exactly one of those few cases. Not because the snake is weak, but because it has met the exact creature born to destroy it. And for that very reason, in many parts of the world, humans used to bring mongooses to live near residential areas. Not as pets, but as a living shield against the threat of venomous snakes. The natural world always maintains a perfect balance. No matter how terrifying snakes are, they still have to bow down to these powerful nemesis. I hope today's journey of discovery has brought you interesting information. Which snake killer impressed you the most? Please leave your opinion in the comments section. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel to support me. For now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.